What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams. As always, I'm joined by Shannon.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So welcome to Friday's episode. So if you have not already, please go back. Monday, we talk about DHS and how some of their physical plans and things of that nature for some of the buildings were stolen from a company, and just the far-reaching implications of that breach. On Tuesday, we talk about the NSA standing up an AI security center, which is pretty cool stuff. And I go on a random tangent about a bunch of other things, like just I think it's worth the ride, but I don't know. You be the judge. Leave me a comment.
It is applicable, though. It is applicable, everybody. It is applicable.
And then Wednesday, we talk about the almost government shutdown and how in 45 days we'll have to do it again, and how it has humongous impacts on national defense and cybersecurity in general, and kind of break that down as well. So definitely tune in that one. Wednesday discussions usually go pretty long, right? We usually get to 15. I think this week, like almost all of them have hit 15. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about. So definitely tune in to all those. And then Thursday, I have no idea which throwback I'm going to use. So if you check out last week, on Thursdays, I like to do either Ask SSP or Throwback Thursday. On this past Thursday, we had Michael Ware's episode where he talked about environmental justice and bringing broadband to the heartland, I guess, the middle America, into those rural areas. So definitely tune into that one. Michael Ware's been on the show several times. He's a recurring guest. He's awesome, and he has a lot of good information to share. So I picked that one because I was like, you know what, this is a good episode. Play this one back. But what will be this week's? I have no clue yet. We'll see. So without further ado, though, actually, Shannon, how was your week?
It wasn't bad. I was not fretting as much over the government shutdown as some other people were. But like I mentioned before, right? Like I was just gonna go around with the wife and just enjoy our time, drop the kids off at school, and then just let us do us. You know what I mean? Catch a movie in the middle of the day, right? Like when's the last time you get to do that? Unless you're a shift worker, there's probably
Right.
right. But
so you brought it up, and I never thought about that because I've like, what happens to DC? Like they shut down. Like, is it just a bunch of picnics and stuff? Like, I would assume people are just like, I'm gonna spend some quality time. I'm gonna get outside, do some things.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what other people were. Like, there was a lot of people that were fretting over it, but like, we've saved a few nickels in our lifetime. You know what I mean? So like, if it was going to go on for a little while, like me personally, I was just going to leave without pay, right? And just because I had PTO, but again, with that PTO that I took going to Hawaii, a month and a half ago ish, right? 2 months ago now, actually. Now I think about it, like I had used up a fair amount of days, right? So I had time, but I wanted to save it because at the end of the year, you got the holidays coming up and things of that.
Right.
I was going to save some for that time frame. So going leave without pay was not a big deal for me, right? But not everybody is in that situation. So it's just one of those things. I don't know. I didn't fret as much. So for me, I was making plans. Like I have made plans, you know what I mean, to take a trip, go home and see family, right? Like got family I haven't seen in a while. I was gonna make that happen. I'm still gonna make that happen because I've already made the plan. So I'm taking PTO. It ends up happening is I'm taking
Right.
because now we're back, right? Now there's no leave without pay option. I mean, I guess there is the option, but I'll just take the PTO and be good with it. But no, I realized it was a stressful time for other people, but for me, like I was just going to use it as a vacation, right? And when it all came through, yesterday, right? I was just kind of like, went up, told the wife, like, all right, here's the deal. And she was just kind of like we kind of made a joke, like, oh man, you know what I mean? Like, but no, I'm glad it happened though, because there are other people that are benefits that they were going to lose that they can't go without, right? People that are a lot worse off than you and I, that relied more on the government being up than we may have, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. I hope we can get it to where we can make it to where, hey, here's the budget. It's good for, let's do 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years,
When's the last time that happened? Like, what's time they actually came through the budget? Like, they've been doing this since
forever.
2010.
Actually, they might have had one time where it was in the previous administration. I think they did 2 years.
Where they actually made it a couple. Like, what is the longest? Like, it's supposed to be 5, right?
I don't
Four or
know.
5 years.
Yeah, I'd have to look into that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a historian listening. Like, man, listen, y'all don't understand government. I
No, no, we don't.
did when I was in fifth grade.
Yeah.
Since
taking
then,
taking
I
civics
forgot.
courses. Yeah.
Yeah, used to crush them. Those government. What was it? Oh man, what is fifth grade? Social studies? Is that what it is?
It depends on where you are, on what they call
Right.
it, I'm noticing.
But yeah, they
Because like
used to.
go ahead.
I was gonna say they used to go hard though. Like you understood how government functioned, how many people were in the house, and all that other stuff, and then terms, all the presidents. You can do all those off the top of your head. Like I can't remember any of that stuff.
Yeah. No, you still, I mean, you still got to do it a little bit in school, but like even like the titles of the classes have changed as my children,
Right.
as it's gone through all my children, you know what I mean? So like I've gone through the gambit and I'm just like, wow. I was like, that's not what we called it or said about it, but okay, yeah. But um and depending on where you are, history can change, right? Or not be taught at all.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Depending on what state you're in.
Yeah, yeah, could not be taught at all, right?
Yeah.
Um, but let's see. Picked up Horizon again. I think I'm
Okay.
to the end. So I'm to the point where I'm gathering everybody up to go into a facility that seems like the big
Right. Like the point of
baddies.
no return.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
like so they give you hints, right? Like so in this one, it's like when you get to this certain point, they're like, I want to make sure I've done everything that I
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
do.
And I like that. I appreciate
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
do that. Like, you sure you did everything you wanted to
Yeah,
do?
yeah, because there's no coming back. Like,
Right.
and usually in these types of games, like you'll see a message, like a message will pop up, but like after this point, there will be no going back or anything
Yeah.
like that, right? So, I'm at that point. So like, I'll get there, do that, to finish that one up. Because look, in 19 more days, Horizon ain't gonna be thought about.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Got that Spider-Man 2 is
Hey,
about to, oh, I'm so excited.
Peter and Miles gonna get all my attention.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, no. So been doing that. I watched, and I don't know why I did, but The Meg 2 is on Max now.
Oh man, my wife and my oldest son made a joke like, oh, we should watch it because we had a family movie night, and we'll,
Right.
we'll go into that. But yeah, it was like that's the big trailer that pops up, right?
Yeah.
I've seen the Meg one. It was terrible, but it was
Yes.
funny.
Yes. I like
But I
that.
was like, this one looks crazy.
And it is. It is. That's the thing. Like I've seen the first one, and I'm like, this isn't necessarily good, but it's like a train wreck. Like I can't take my eyes off of it.
Right, right. It's fun. It's good, bad. If that's a
Yeah.
yeah, you're just like they know what they're doing here.
Like the dialogue is just terrible and cheesy, but it's
Yeah.
like I want to see some sharks eat some people. You know what I mean? Because
Right,
what
right.
I'm
And
going
that's a Jason Statham,
through.
right?
Yep.
That's a staple for him. Like every iteration of a movie series that he's in gets more and more ridiculous. Like Transporter, it
Oh,
just goes jumps the shark more and more and more. That's just his thing, right? Like so, I would expect nothing less. But I saw a portion of the trailer, and I think I saw a dinosaur, and I was like, "What is going on?" I was like, "It might be worth it just to figure out what's happening here."
it's wild, man. Like that's I'll tell you that's short lived. I'll
Okay,
that.
okay. No, so you watched
Well,
the whole thing. You
hold
did
on.
watch the whole thing.
I watched the whole thing. The whole
Oh man, I might have to jump on it.
I watched the whole thing. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say it's a masterpiece by any means, but
Right.
I think you'll laugh a little bit. Like some of the
Okay. Because they know what they're doing. Like it's like the fast movies. It's just gets more and more surreal. It's like, is this a fever dream? Like, what is happening here? Why is this person able to do things that just make physics does not apply to this person?
yeah, yeah.
So I might check it out just for that alone. Because it like the more I think about it, like because I sometimes I take myself too seriously when it comes to movie watching and things of that nature. But I'll go back and watch a Schwarzenegger or a Stallone movie, and these also had no basis in reality. So that's basically all it is. It's just 80s movies in HD.
That's 100% true though. Like I will go back. I will watch Terminator 2,
Yeah,
Erase.
and you're like,
Like man, really? Like this
but
is.
it's good though. Like for
I
whatever.
know. I know. And that's the thing is like I don't know why it is though, because it's not even like even when it comes to like Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah,
Like that crocodile or gator or whatever, it was just so terrible CGI, right? So compared to today, it was so terrible. But I'm like, I want to see that every time when he puts that that bullet through that gator's
right,
brain. It's just
right.
like I don't know, man. Like I don't know what attracts me to it, but I'm just like it's not.
It's the nostalgia. It's the Schwarzenegger covered in mud. Like you have an alien that's able to traverse the universe, but it can't see you covered in mud.
Yeah, yeah.
Kill me! I'm right here. What? It makes no sense, but it's so good. So I might actually watch that today. I might watch
I
the
know.
Predator.
Now that you said it, I gotta find Predator, right? What's this
Right.
on one of my numerous streaming services that I pay for, right? Like, no, that's the thing though, man. Like, I knew going in, I saw it on Max, and I was just like, I was not gonna see this in the movie theater. Like, I knew I was not gonna
Oh
pay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, if you're just gonna bring it to me, well, why not? You know what I mean?
And then the way that they're presenting the trailer, like it's like this is a blockbuster. You need to watch this.
It's
Sure.
fine, but I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know, man. Like, it was. For those of you that like stuff that's just going to be a little more humorous and campy, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
this might be for you because it's more humorous than the first one. The first one, I think they were trying to be a little more serious than they are in this one. In this one, they are.
Right, right. And then that's his thing. Like the first one he gets you like transporter. First one he gets you on, you're like, okay. By the time you get to the last transporter, you're just like, yo, did he just drive a car out of a parking lot over a crane?
Yeah, to remove a bomb, right?
Yeah,
Like,
to remove a bomb from the bottom of the
come
car.
on, man, come on, come on. I realize you're good with a car, but you're not that good.
Yeah, crazy craziness out here.
Yeah. But watch the Meg. I did not get a chance to watch the second episode of The Continental.
I made it almost to the end of the second
Okay.
episode.
We're gonna talk offline. Like when you
Yeah,
get to the end of it, you made it to the end of the second episode. You said so. You watched the
almost
first.
to the end of the second episode.
Okay, so I'll give you my theory off air, like on the first one, right?
Okay.
I have not watched the second, but because there's only gonna be three, right? There's only gonna
Yeah,
be
and these are movie long, like they're an hour and a half a piece. So that's why I only made it through because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna marathon it. And I got to the second half of the second half of the second episode, and then I just had to do like daily stuff, right? Like I did like do this, that. I just never got back around to it because like literally, I still have like 47 minutes left of this movie long episode.
which I'm kind of thankful for, right? Like, but like, I'm not thankful for it if it slows down because in the first one there were stretches. I was just like the action sequences are on point. It's
Yeah,
very John Wick. I'm like, wow, you did it again. You know what I mean? Like, I love it, but like the lulls are just like, oh my gosh, come on now. You know what I mean?
right, right. And I saw reviews saying like they didn't say that there were long lulls or whatever, but I saw one that said that they just don't get John Wick. And I think that's on purpose though. They're like John Wick is like literally we're getting through a night or a day or like it just keeps like back to back back. Like this dude has to be so tired. I didn't watch the fourth one yet, but he's got to be so tired. He gets no rest. But these are fleshing out the universe. So it's like this spans days, weeks, what have you. Um, but I don't know. Like if I were to think continuity wise, like maybe in the second episode it's been a couple of days, maybe, but not long. It hasn't like these people don't get to rest. They
Well,
just keep going and going and going.
the first one wasn't that long either, though. It was only over a few days, if you think about it. Like what happened, like with the brother, and then
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
no, you know what? It actually might have been. It might have been a couple months, but from when they go to London and do all that, it's been a few days. Like
yeah.
so, yeah.
But
But
yeah, I definitely like it. Uh it is a little bit slower, but it does start to flesh some stuff out. They kind of start to they're doing world building, right? Because I think it's about the splinter. I think the John Wick universe is gonna take on a new. I didn't watch four, so this is me just speculating. But with Ballerina coming out and things of that nature, uh Keanu only has so much more in him, right? Like that dude is very he's still got the youth, right? He still wants to do his own stunts and stuff like that. But at a certain point, if they want this franchise to keep going, they have to find a younger actor to pick it up and take the mantle. Whether that be through prequels or through, just a different part of the universe. He can't do it for another 4 movies.
Well, that's what they're doing here though, because this is a prequel. Like it's taking place in the
Right,
70s.
right, exactly.
And
So
so
I think that's the direction they're going to kind of go, because they really have no choice. Like he's going to age out of it.
I mean, he's pushing 60 now. I'm gonna say he's gonna be
Yeah,
60 within like a year. So like there will come a point where it's like, man, you're good at this, but your body is just gonna tell you, nah, man, I
right,
can't.
right. You start getting hurt.
Yeah. So because he's doing a lot of the stuff himself, especially the shooting. Like I don't know if you ever seen the YouTube
Yeah, I did. I
doing
did.
the
I was like,
training.
is this sped up?
I'm
He's
like,
moving fast. Like, is this
he's
two
getting
times
it in.
speed?
Yeah, he's getting it in. He's getting
Yeah,
it in. But so I'll watch that. I'll probably catch a little bit of that today, probably before football starts. I might get that in because once football starts, that's it. That's
right,
football
right,
rest of the day, right? That's how that
right.
goes.
But
Um,
that soundtrack it goes hard. Like
yeah,
that's really like I just like that era of music, right? The whole Vietnam and 70s. Like they just made really good music. I don't know if it's just nostalgia or what have you, but like you can't beat this type of soundtrack. Like every
it's
time they play a track, I'm like, this is good.
it's probably because you heard it growing up, though. So like that's kind
Yeah.
of the thing with me, like with my grandfather and my father. Like that's the music I heard growing up. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, I don't know. I guess it's just embedded in my brain that this is what you're going to do, or I was chipped. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just I think that air I don't know. Like I don't think anyone hears that music and is like, oh, it's not good. Because they had a I don't know if you remember the Battlefield games, right? Like so Battlefield 1942, I want to say
never,
was out.
never, never played it.
So they're like now they've modernized and it's more like Call of Duty, whatever. But it used to be a really long protracted. There you go. Long protracted battles, right? You have 100 versus 100 people. It's a big battlefield. That was the premise. I think it was 1943 came out, and it was like nah, and that soundtrack hit so hard. So I literally would download the songs from the soundtrack, and then because I didn't really play the game all like that, I wasn't really a big PC gamer or whatever. But that soundtrack went hard. So I always appreciate good music in movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And this one did not let me down so far. They even remix some stuff, right? Like I'll hear a song, I'm like, that's they did a different concept of that. You know, what I mean, they slowed it down or something like that.
Or to be a different artist altogether, just
Right.
making it, because like some of those artists from the 70s that came out with this stuff, they're just not there, and then maybe they didn't get rights. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's another aspect. And it's also uh, it's always the espionage part of it always like gets it like I don't think because you haven't seen the second episode yet. So there's a scene in the second episode because I always wonder like what happens if a regular person walks into the Continental, right? Just thinking it's a hotel, and they do that in the second episode. It's not long, or is it the first episode?
It's the first episode.
The first, yeah. So like when she
First
walks in
episode.
there,
Mhm.
I always wonder what would happen if that happened, and then it kind of played out the way I thought it would play out. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool just to see because you don't have time for that in John Wick movies. They're moving too fast. He's only in the hotel to get whatever he needs and get back out of there, right? It's like a safe house. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. So they're doing all the stuff I want them to do, but I'm the same way with Solar Opposites, right? Like I like the TV show, but I really like the wall portion of it, right? Like the B-side story, like what's happening inside the wall.
There are times that ends up being the better story, though. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I haven't finished Solar Opposites. Like I was the first season, I was like, okay, good. Second season, I was like, all right. And then the third season, I don't know.
yeah, I haven't been back in a while either. Now they have new voice actors, right? Because of the whole Justin Roiland thing.
Yeah.
So I got to see how that plays out and what have you. Because I don't know if you saw and not to get too far away from it, but the new Rick and Morty, they showed the trailer. They have voice alikes, so they sound just enough alike to Rick and Morty, but then he like yelled or something, and it's not Justin Roiland, right? So it's like I don't know how they're going to play off of that because the person sounds similar, but definitely not identical. So and it's probably two different people. To be honest with you, it's probably not the same person. Like he plays all the characters pretty much, but I think they have different people playing, the best version that they could find to sound like them.
That's one of those things where they'll reference it. You know what I mean? Like it'll be
Right. Because they do it so the opposites. They plainly just like, yeah, this is the way it's gonna be.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. But no, so far so good. But yeah, I think the second episode is a lot slower so far. But I think it's gonna pick up. It looks like it's going to like the first episode had it was like super fast and it slowed down and it was super fast again. This one, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, because the two of them are bleeding into each other. I think it starts out pretty fast, and now I'm in the slow part, but something's about to happen, right? Like I cut it off just before I was like, oh, something about to happen. I hit pause. So I think it's about to like for the next 47 minutes, it's about to be just on and popping. So we'll see.
So my hope, the way the first one ended, like my hope was that okay, we're gonna be action, action, action for the second one, right? Because of how everything went down.
No, they got to take time and kind of marinate in what just happened.
Boo. But no, I'll get it in. I'm gonna do my best to get in today. Although, ooh, I don't know. There's a London game on today, so it's gonna be an early football game. So, shoot, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um,
Who your Ravens playing?
we got to play the Browns this week. We got to go to
Okay.
Cleveland and play the Browns. So that's a division rivalry that, we'll see. We'll see what comes out of it.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. We're going up against
Dolphins, right?
Dolphins.
Dolphins are coming. They're coming to y'all.
Oh man, my neighbor lives directly across the street. So if I walk out my house, you can see his house, like directly across the street. He's a Miami fan, so he's already talking crazy. So I'm just like, man, if they beat us by 50 points, I will not be outside.
I don't think that's going to happen again. Like we're not going to see that again in our lifetime. I don't think. But
Man. So like we're I think we're 9 for 10, like in W's versus the Dolphins over the
really,
past over the past several years.
okay.
So we lost that last game, heat cramps. Remember our whole bench was on the sideline getting water and getting massages. Like it was just too hot. They put us on the sunny side too, jerks.
And that's intentional. Like they do that for
Right.
right. Like, that's intentional. Like the thing is, they're coming to you though, right? So like I was talking to somebody at work, that's a Dolphins fan, and I was like, well, where is it, right? I was like, are they coming to you to where y'all gonna cramp them up? I said
Right.
it like that. They're gonna cramp them up in Miami in September or October, beginning of October.
Right.
I was like, it's still hot. And she was like, no. She's like, we're going to Buffalo. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, okay. I said, so that means at the end of the year, like you're probably going to play them at the end of the year going to Miami. It'll be cooler, right? So the
Right.
advantage of the heat won't be as bad, you know. But I know y'all like to drag them into the snow, you know. It's probably what y'all want to do. Like, hey,
Right. Right. Like that's a staple in Buffalo, like playing in blizzard, whiteout conditions. Is a staple. We wear the red jersey so we can see each other. Can't wear the white one. But we'll see. We'll see how this game plays out. Like the Bills have been playing very well. It's just like I'm not scared of the Dolphins by any means, but they're getting better. You know what I mean? Over the past few years, they're getting the pieces they need to be really good competition. So they're not the easy W, unlike the Jets. Yeah, I said it.
especially now, yeah.
Right. But the Jets beat us. They beat us in that game. We beat ourselves in
Yeah.
that game. But I have no doubt that the second, because we were going to play them twice, I have no doubt the second time we play the Jets, we're going to win. The Dolphins, not so sure. I think we're good for one of two. So hopefully that we get our one to deflate them a little bit so they're not getting back-to-back blowouts, right? And we're pretty healthy. So
Well,
I think,
y'all still don't have Von Miller. Like he's going to be
yeah,
out for
that's
longer
true.
still, but that hurts. You know what I mean? Put that pressure on Tua. You
I
know what I
don't
mean?
know. We were doing pretty good last game though. Like we're getting at him, but also that was not like he was scared. He was seeing ghosts, but the QB was seeing ghosts like by the end of the game. So hopefully we can do that again. But I don't. My son made a comment like Tua can only take so many more hits. Like he's been protected really well the past couple games. Like so I don't want to be the game that takes him out, right? Like I would feel terrible, especially with
So
Lamar coming back after his his serious injury. He's coming back this game, so I don't want anybody like stretch out on the field. You know what I mean? Like I don't want that to be a thing.
So I don't know if you read about this, but like he was practicing jujitsu in the off season, so he learns how to roll. So like
Ah,
with
that's smart.
him, like he was always like his head was bouncing off the turf and
Yeah,
whatnot. So the couple times he's been hit, you'll see him. It's kind of funny. Like he does like a playful roll, like going around and whatnot when he hits the ground. So he's not like falling flat like a wrestler. You know what I mean? Hitting his head on
right.
the ground. He's doing like he's learning how to fall and like tuck his chin in and go back and everything. So
Gotcha.
one of the things he did to avoid concussions, right? Because for him, it's not just a matter of missing games. Like at this point, like if he gets another one this close to the last one that he had last season, like that's just dangerous for your health, like going forward. You know, it's not just
Right. Yeah, they're
this
additive,
cycle.
right? It's
Yeah,
cumulative effect on
yeah,
him. So definitely don't want to see that. Don't want anybody to injure their brain over a sport.
yeah.
Um, but I think everybody will be okay, right? Like because I didn't know he was doing that thing, but also I don't believe we're gonna get at them like we got. Who did we play last game? Who were we playing? Wasn't the Bears? Who did we play? We were getting at them.
Was it another division opponent? Was it the Patriots?
No, it'll come back to me. But
Yeah,
their
one like
QB,
37-20 or something like
yeah,
that.
their QB had no chance.
Yeah.
Like we were smothering that dude. So we'll see. I don't think it's gonna play out the same. I just hope. Again, I'm looking for the W, but I'm not. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be too many more blowouts for the rest of the season. Like the NFL can't handle it.
I don't think anybody else is going to lose by 50 points for sure. Like that's just not going to happen again. Like that was crazy. That was like one of those things where the stars just have to align. You know what I mean? To come up
Right.
with that. But
Oh yeah, we're playing. I can never remember it. I can never remember this team because of the name change. Commanders. We're playing the
yeah,
Commanders. That's
yeah,
that's who we blew. We didn't blow them out. They scored at the end.
yeah.
But their fans were looking defeated. Their fans were looking like my fans when I played Madden. They're like, why am I still here? Like, give me out of the stands. But yeah, I can never remember the Commanders' name because of the name change. It's crazy. Because they were the football team, right? They were the Washington football team for like a season or something like that. Something.
Yep. Yep.
That's crazy stuff. Um, so pivoting from football. So you said you play Horizon. You watched the Make 2 classic, right?
Instant classic. Yeah,
It's the classic.
it's campy.
We're watching some football today. Spider-Man 2 is coming out. Uh, have you picked up Castlevania yet? I did not watch it yet.
Mm-mm.
I'm
No.
hearing rave reviews. It's getting nines.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's gonna be good.
I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna get into it. But like see, if I was in a government shutdown, I would have time to make that
You have
happen.
time to binge
So,
TV shows?
yeah. I'm not. So yeah.
Got you. So for me, I picked up Alan Wake. So Alan Wake remastered. So Alan Wake's a game that came out in 2010. It's like a third person um, kind of shooter kind of puzzle game, right? Like it's based on like Alan Wake is a famous author in this universe. It's a game made by Remedy. So Remedy makes those Max Payne, Control, uh, Alan Wake. Like they make those type of genre games that have like lots of narration, lots of story. I'm a big fan of Remedy, especially Max Payne 1 and 2. 3 was good. 3 was made by Rockstar though. It made a pivot, so it became more of a shooter. But the thing about Alan Wake is it was like a cult classic. Like it came out, it had a sequel, it didn't really pick up. But Alan Wake 2 is coming out, and everything I've seen for it, it looks really, really good. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. So they have remastered the original to make it more modern. So I'm finally playing it. This game came out 13 years ago, and it holds up. Like it looks pretty. It's playing well. My wife did not like it because Alan Wake, because he's an author. When things happen in this game, like you can't tell if he's delusional, if he's stuck in a nightmare. Like, but basically the premise is he has writer's block, and now he went to like Maine because that's where all writers go, right? Like they like the lighthouses and looking out at the lake. So he goes out there to take a vacation, but really his manager and his wife want him to get over his writer's block. So he's trying to, like, he's mad at them for bringing him here. He's like a local celebrity. They have like cutouts of him and stuff like that. But the undertone is something evil is happening in this town, and you can't tell if it's something to do with him or he just winds up in the situation. But he narrates the situation as he's going through it. So he has his inner dialogue is outer, and it's driving my wife crazy. She's like, why is he talking so much? He's a writer, so like he's like trying to figure out what's going on, and as he's going through it, he's finding pages of a manuscript for a book that he's the author of, but he did not write. So he's like, what is going, like, he's just, it's like basically it's like playing a Stephen King novel is what I'm doing by playing the game. I love it. It's what I need right now. And the, like, you can't, like, the enemies are like shadow creatures, and which it has a mechanic where you have to take your flashlight and you have to shine it on them, and that makes them real, and then you can shoot them. So like he's finding like random revolvers. He's like, why are these people have no gun control in this town? Like, why is there a revolver in the trash? Like, it makes no sense. You have to find batteries, so you have to find more batteries than you have to find bullets, because it only takes a shot or two to kill the enemy, but you have to use your flashlight on them, and the harder they are, the longer you have to keep the flashlight on and avoid the damage. So I like it. It's pretty cool.
So, question for you. One of my coworkers brought this up. Have you played a game called Life of P?
No, it's on my list of things to play. But yeah, it's a Dark Souls, but with
Yeah.
Pinocchio as the theme. I've heard nothing but good things about it, but those games are hard to be hard. I don't want to be frustrated right now. I just want to have fun.
They didn't update apparently. So when he was telling me about it, I looked at the trailer. I was like, this looks really cool. But they didn't update recently that made it easier though. So some people are like, okay, that's good. And then others are like, no, that's the whole point.
Right. The whole point is for me to be frustrated,
right,
but to beat the challenge, right?
right.
I don't want that right now.
Okay. No, I was just curious. I saw the trailer and I was like, man, I was like, because I've heard you and Levon have bought up Dark Souls, I want to say.
Yeah. I've never been a dark, like I've never played more than a couple hours of a Dark Souls or Demon Souls game. That's how frustrated I get. And I just like, you know what? Because they don't tell you nothing. They don't explain the mechanics to you. Like the story is all in the background. But Lies of P, the story is actually baked in, and it actually is it kind of teaches you how the mechanics work. So that's why I'm like, this might be my entry point. This might get me in there. But the problem is, like, that might be a game for the holidays when I have the time to sit there and learn the mechanics and get good, basically. But right now, I'm playing Catherine still. I'm almost done with that game. That game takes a crazy left at the end. So I'm getting through that. And it's a puzzle game / story driven game, and then I'm starting Alan Wake because I actually do want to get through it before the sequel comes out, and then Spider-Man. And I think that's gonna be my holiday.
Yeah. Well, you have Game Pass too, though. So
yeah, and Lies of P is on Game Pass, so that
yeah.
also gets me in the front door, because I'm not gonna pay you $70 to not finish this.
Yeah. Yeah, so you'll just have a lot of options though, because it seems like new stuff that's coming out goes direct to Game Pass, like with Microsoft. Man, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
all
good.
the first party goes.
Yeah,
because so there's a Forza coming out. I usually don't play racing games all like that. Like I like them, I admire them because they're so pretty, but I don't get good at them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something I pop on when I want to just play around. And it's about to drop, and it looks gorgeous. So I'm like, that's in Game Pass, so it's gonna be a download. Right, I'll probably play around with it for like a week and then delete it because storage is a premium. I still haven't gotten into oh my god, what is that game called? Starfield. So I still haven't gotten to Starfield because I had that bug. They fixed it, so I'm gonna circle back around to that one. But Cyberpunk. So Cyberpunk came out in 2020. It was a game that released broken. I bought it for $10, brand new. That's how badly broken it was, from a reputable company. Like CD Projekt Red makes the Witcher games. Like they are a beloved game maker. Cyberpunk was so badly broken, it really hurt their reputation. However, over the past 3 years, they've patched and fixed and what have you, and they finally released the DLC and a 2.0 patch where they basically they say the game is now a 9 out of 10. They finally fixed it. It took 3 years, but the game has finally come into its own, and they're like, just go ahead, re-download it, and start over, and you will have a great experience. So I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to jump into it. Idris, there you go. Idris Alba is a character in the DLC. They say he does a phenomenal job. So you not only have Keanu Reeves is a character called Johnny Silverhand. It's crazy. He's baked into the original game, and now you have Idris Alba is in the DLC. And they say they've pivoted. Like the team is now working on the sequel and then in the new Witcher. So this is it. Like the game is now feature complete. They did their due diligence to finally get it up to where it needs to be. If I bought the DLC, which is like $30, I would literally have only paid $40 for a 70 plus a $30 expense. So the game should cost $100. I will have put in 40. So that's a good deal. And it has hundreds of hours of gameplay. So I'm like, I gotta get back in that. And it's pretty. I gotta jump into that.
You know, I'm noticing a lot more major actors are getting into video game voicing now.
Yeah.
Right? Lance Reddick was ahead of his time when he was doing it, right?
Oh, yeah, because he was Horizon and he was something else too.
Not Dark Souls. What was it? Yeah, he's done a few though, actually.
Yeah, he has done a few.
He had done a few,
yes,
in passing, right? But yeah, like it's becoming a more and more common thing now. Like even with Horizon, like as I'm hearing some of the voices, I'm like, I know that voice. I got to look it up, and I'm like, oh, that's Carrie-Anne Moss. That's Trinity from, you know what I mean, from Matrix. Like I recognize the voices. Look them up. I'm like, oh wow.
Because I think it's finally like because I've always been a big fan of games, whatever, but they're always poo-pooed, right? Like when it came to like story and things of that nature. But like the budgets are so big. They say The Last of Us was I think it leaked from the FTC trial for Microsoft. It was either 200 or $300 million budget. That's how much games cost now for like that caliber of game. Like obviously, and it did gangbusters. It made its budget back on just one console, right? Just think if Last of Us was on everything, how much money it would have potentially made. But yeah, like it has major actors in it, right? Like it not only has voice actors that are now bridging the gap, right? Like so some of the voice actors from The Last of Us were actors before they became voice actors and continuously were actors, but now they were in the Last of Us TV show as well, right? They didn't come back as themselves; they came back as other characters. Like Troy Baker wasn't Joel, right? Because that's Pedro Pascal in the TV show, but he wound up being a really fleshed out side character in the HBO Max TV show, right? Like so, like it's going both ways. Like you have big movie stars coming into games, you have voice actors and things of that nature moving into the bigger stage as well, because like these budgets are ridiculous. And people spend more money than ever on games, right? Like the average age of a gamer is almost 40 now.
Yeah, but that's a lot of money to put into it. $200 million, $300 million into a game.
Budgets.
If you're making it out, if you're making it back,
yeah.
I mean, keep doing it, right? But they also take longer to develop than what they used to as well, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Now a game like The Last of Us takes 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
To make. Like look at GTA. GTA 5 came out 10 years ago now. It's about to hit its 10-year anniversary. And I've bought that game on 3 different consoles. No, so like legitimately, it's been 3 generations. I bought it. It debuted on PS3. It was phenomenal looking, and then they updated it, made it look more gorgeous. I bought it on the PS4, and now there's a PS5 version of it, which I think I got that for free though, but because I subscribed to something, right? So I'd still paid for it. I just paid for it through a different vector or whatever, and it's still selling like gangbusters. It's still one of the most downloaded games. It's the highest grossing media product of all time. It busted that in its first iteration, and it's continuously like GTA Online makes billions of dollars, still selling. And like 6 is looming. 6 will it has to be announced at either end of this year or beginning of next year, because I don't know if they've been developing it for 10 years because Red Dead was in there too, right? But it's been at least 5 years. That's because that's just how long it takes to make a game.
Is that the same studio that did Red Dead Redemption 2?
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. They switch off like so right now that's their cadence is between those two major titles, right? But Red Dead doesn't sell like GTA sells. So GTA is Lumen. It's right around the corner. I
I
just
remember.
my I was gonna say my fear is that it'll have more online integration because it makes so much money, and I don't want to play with people.
I read Red Dead Redemption did pretty good, man. I know
It
people were
did,
talking
it did,
about
but not GTA 5 good.
it.
Like
Yeah,
nothing is done GTA. Maybe Minecraft,
yeah.
maybe. But no, it did, and there's rumors that there's a remaster coming out. So guess what I'm going to be picking up? Because I never gave it its I mainlined Red Dead 2. It had a phenomenal story, but I was busy for whatever reason. That game has so much stuff in it I have not touched. I gotta play it again. I got to. Like there's bounties, right? Like there's a lot of side stuff within Red Dead that I just there's a serial killer in there. I stumbled across some stuff because it's like organic. Like you might walk into a cabin and it's just something happened. You just like, yo, this is crazy. And then you'll find like diaries and journals. You're supposed to find the serial killer. I just never got into it. Like it's just there's so much stuff baked in there, hundreds of hours.
You know what's crazy is like it comes off to me like with Horizon, all the hours I put into Horizon, both games, like I love it. When I tried to play Red Dead Redemption, it just wasn't for me. I don't
It's
know if it was
very
the
slow.
Old West. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe,
it's very
maybe.
slow.
But I was just like, I couldn't get into it because somebody let me borrow it. I downloaded it, and then like I was just like, this is not for me. Like I think I spent more time playing poker or whatever the card game was or something
Right, right.
like that. And I don't know. I was like, this ain't for me.
Yeah, it's definitely a acquired taste. It's like the opposite of Grand Theft Auto, right? Like you just stealing cars and smashing stuff up and getting chased by police. It's very drawn out, protracted, but like it's the side stuff, like it's the bounties, it's the like I said, there's a serial killer in there. There's a bunch of other stuff that's hidden in there. You can a bunch of different jobs you can do that are just crazy when it comes to like hunting animals and stuff like that. So there's a lot of world building in there. I just didn't touch any of it. I just went straight from A to B. So I'm hoping that the remaster does come to fruition because I need to give it a second chance. But I
I
can't
think
play on those
I
old
think
graphics.
I think I'll still pass.
It still looks pretty though.
Yeah.
Like but now games are coming out that are just next gen, right? That we've bridged that gap between PS4, PS5, Series. What was it before? It was One, Xbox One, and now Series X, X and S. So finally, those there are games that are just coming out just for the Series S and X, just for the PS5. Um, so I'm getting pretty excited about that. And there's one more thing. Oh, Resident Evil 4 has DLC called Separate Ways. So they did in the original Resident Evil 4 where you have your main characters and there's some stuff happening in the background and you're just not quite sure what is happening. So they alluded to it in this one as well, where you're just like at the very end of the game, you're like the character says something, you're like, what? Like I don't remember that happening or I was not involved in that. So now the DLC finally dropped and it's getting high scores as well. I think it's like $10, but it's like I think it's like $10 for like 10 or 14 hours of gameplay or something like that. I was like, I'll pay that. I'll do that. So at some point I'm gonna jump into that too. Hopefully before Spider-Man. Aside from that though, I want to say, oh, so we had family movie night. We watched Evil Dead Rises because it's spooky time. Not bad. It's actually pretty good. I know you're not a big Evil Dead fan because it's kind of silly or whatever. This was not silly. Like there was a like maybe one silly moment in the whole thing. Like this one took itself way more serious than the previous ones. It still has a premise where you're just like, that's why would you do that type situation? Like you just set yourself up for failure. But once it gets going, like it starts out pretty quick and then it slows down and they explain itself and then it ramps up and like it just keeps going. Like it's it's less scary and more gruesome than a lot of the Evil Deads. You just like, geez.
So
Like
so is your youngest sleeping in the bed with y'all now after
no,
after this
he likes scary stuff.
scary stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
he likes
All right.
scary stuff. So he was fine. Because there was a couple scenes where I was just like, oh, and I look over at him. He's just watching, just like, oh, it's cool. Because I was watching Freddy and Jason at that time. So
We were. That's
yeah.
true.
So I was just like, I'll give it a shot. But yeah, he really enjoyed it. But yeah, this one definitely took itself more serious. It felt more like the first Evil Dead. Even that was kind of campy. This is less campy and is more definitely more gruesome. And it takes place mostly in one location. So like before in the first one, it was the cabin in the woods. This one is a apartment building. It's being condemned, and they're stuck in it. And just like, oh, this is you. You're at some points because it has kids in it, right? So you're just like, oh, I can't believe they did to a kid. Like, oh, that is terrible. Um, I would say it's definitely worth a watch. If you were inclined to watch any Evil Dead ever, you should watch this one because you don't have to have any of the background of Evil Dead. It's like a reboot.
I am not so inclined.
Right. But if you ever did, you're like, you know what? I'm finally gonna watch Evil Dead. Start with Evil Dead Rises. Like all the other ones are good, but they're very campy, uh, kind of silly. Like this one is just like very serious. Like,
And Evil Dead is Sam Raimi, right? The Sam
yeah,
Raimi.
but he didn't direct this one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like it's
Oh,
a complete reboot. Like Ash, like the dude Bruce Campbell, he plays Ash in all of the other series. He is in this one, but not. He's a voice in this one. He's not an actor, which threw me off because I was just waiting for him to show up because he's a staple, and he never showed up. So I was like, I have to Google it, and then I was like, oh, that was him. So he's still in it, but as indirectly as possible.
I was gonna say because Sam Raimi, like I never watched his stuff anyway. Like I'm not a. Let me not say that. I watched the Spider-Man movies, right, and they got worse as they went on. But
Right.
zombie stuff or the horror stuff, not a fan of. And when he ruined the second Doctor Strange, I was just like, nah, man. I say ruined. Like a lot of people liked it. I did not.
It's very yeah. It's a Sam Raimi movie. It's less of an MCU movie, more of a Sam Raimi movie. But no, like this had it's this it plays homage to him in some of the ways they film stuff, kind of like some people steal stuff from Spike Lee, right? Like you have like the floating camera thing. He does one of those as a Sam Raimi type angle. And you're like, okay, like so he plays homage to it, but he does his own thing. Like the director, I forget the name of the director for this one, but basically, like if they continue with him, like this is a different franchise. It's way more um man, I don't know what to call it. It's like torture porn, I think is what they say. Like we're just killing people like in ridiculous ways. You're just like, oh, that's gruesome. Like he's more of that vein than Sam Raimi was more of the campy, like let's make it silly.
So this guy's more Saw than.
Yes, yes, yeah. Because it comes to a point where they did something. I was just like, they're not going to do that, and then they did it, and I was like, ah. So it's like it's not the it's one of those situations where it's like this does not scare me. Like this makes me uncomfortable. He does that. I'm just like, okay. But he keeps the staples. There's the boomstick, the shotgun makes an appearance, the chainsaw makes an appearance, and that's where he caps out at. He's just like, nope, I'm taking it in my direction. So I was like, okay, I respect it, and it's a female protagonist this time as well. So like you're like, okay, that's a different take on it. I think out of all the main characters, only one of them was a male, and that was it. And everybody else, like it's like the lady, her daughters, and her sister are the main characters. I'm just like, okay, it's different. It's different for Evil Dead because usually those type of scary movies, like the females are always the cannon fodder, right? Like they're just there for a reason and then they die. Like this is like no, this is like we are the main characters of this one. So kind of like they did with Terminator and so I don't know if that I didn't hear any feedback where people were dislike that or whatever. Like I only heard positive things about this movie, to be honest with you. It was between this and Pope's Exorcist, and we went with this one.
The Pope's Exorcist is different. It's not bad, so to speak, but it's just one of those things where it's like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, we'll probably watch that one. But we were like between the two, or in the third one was Boogeyman, the Stephen King book that they turned into a movie. But we looked at the scores were so low. We are like, man, I heard good things about it, but I was like, this might just be trash. But I was like, Evil Dead had good reviews, but I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be too gruesome. And it was pretty gruesome. Didn't disappoint, I guess. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me for this week. But the goal is Alan Wake next week, Resident Evil 4 DLC, and then I want to see The Creator. I just can't get anybody to see it with me. Nobody wants to see that movie. Well, it looks so good.
I don't know, man. Like, you like that type of thing, like
Yeah, man.
like
Dystopic,
world is gonna
sci-fi.
end, and yep.
Yep.
I don't know. John David Washington can get a little weird out there, man. Like, cause like with Tenet, it was okay, but it was just like, oh my gosh, like, am I watching this forward and then backwards? Like, what is going
Yeah,
on?
that broke my brain a little bit.
Yeah.
And not in an enjoyable way. I was kind of like, okay, I'm over this. But that and the audio, like, because it had issues where some theaters the audio was bad. Like, just their levels were not set appropriately for the movie because there's a lot of low talking in the tenant. And I was in one of those theaters where I was like, can we get subtitles? Like, I don't know what they're saying. So that kind of messed up the experience too. So at some point I have to watch it again on TV so I can hear it. But I don't know. Well, it wasn't doing it for me. But but yeah, that's my plans for next week. So we'll see how that goes. Then obviously we'll finish up the Continental, so we can talk about that. And then at some point,
I may not finish it. I'm gonna be still taking my trip, going to see
oh
fans.
yeah.
That coming on Friday. I may not get to see it.
So we'll talk about it the week after that then, because so next week I have Chris volunteered to come on, so Abercon will
Okay.
be back.
Yeah.
So me and you will pick up the Continental the week after that one. We should all be done. Maybe even have some Castlevania to talk about as well. So yes, sir. But yeah, so thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the podcast. So again, please reach back to Monday, Tuesday were our topics, Wednesday discussion. Thursday was a throwback of some sort. I just didn't pick it yet. So you'll be just as surprised as I am. And then obviously Fridays, everything else, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. So definitely continue to tune in. Thank you again for all the traffic that we received last month. We were like three and a half times over our normal. So hopefully we captured some of those people, retained some of those listeners for the upcoming, because I don't expect every month to spike like that, right? I don't think that's going to be the new norm, but I'm greatly appreciative of it. Hit us up at our website to go by our name. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get our numbers up before the end of the year over there as well. Hit me up personally. I'm at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. I'm on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and Threads. Stay safe, stay secure.